phases of renovations in its existing facilities. The project's construction contract was approved by St. Johns County Board of County Commissioners at its regular meeting on February 4th. The first phase includes replacing the football field's grass turf with synthetic turf and improving the associated drainage system. This is pretty exciting. The $2.1 million budget for this construction work is estimated to begin spring 2025 and completed by fall of 2025. Troy, tell us about this.
All right. So when Solomon Calhoun's, obviously, it's very close and dear. I mean, it's a project Greg White, the CRA, and Parks and Rec, when I was there, worked on. And it's a beautiful center. If you haven't been there, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got a gymnasium. It has a pool. The football field is right there, just around the little corner there from the gymnasium. I'm a big proponent of artificial turf fields, because we have such a large volume of. I might nerd out on some grass stuff here, so
Let's go.
I'm apologizing right now.
We have cows in comments.
And the reason artificial turf fields save us money, and it sounds like a big number, a regular turf field would cost to repair about $400,000-$500,000 each time you did regular grass, which is the Bermuda grass. And you have to do that almost every year.
Yeah.
So this $2 million, this field's going to last about 15 years.
Yeah.
And then they'll only have to resurface the carpet at that point. So it really saves a lot of money. On a grass field, you can only get about 300 hours of play for the year, and we have so many people. I mean, if you guys have ever seen a soccer field or the soccer field out at Gamble Rogers, it's absolutely slammed with people.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of hours, a lot of little feet just tearing up the grass and stuff like that. The turf lasts, and the turf, like on a day like today, if it stops raining, you can play on that turf field immediately.
Oh, wow.
You play on a grass field, you can't.
So it absorbs the water.
Well, that's the disbursement of the second part of that.
Okay.
Is the drainage system of it that comes along with it. So we put in, I think in 2007, 2008, we put in 6 or 7 artificial turf fields around the county. I think we were had the most turf fields of any public park system.
Really?
And those are still working the exact same that they did. They've had to replace the carpets at this point. But it to me, I made a couple of good decisions, and that was one that I really fought for during the recession. We had a big bond issue, and they kind of drained all our money, and I put it into artificial turf fields. And I mean, when I drive by one, I still feel like, oh gosh, thank goodness we did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's super smart.
And I'm glad that this group understands and sees the value, because that's really, really, to me, a smart way to use the money. It's an efficient way to use the money.
Is the construction process difficult?
It is. I mean, it's kind of like putting layers on a cake to make sure your drainage is right. Because if you don't do that, if you don't get like any building, if you don't get the base right, it's going to fail. So it does take a little bit of time, and that's why it sounds like it's such an expensive thing, but it is worth it.
Yeah.
Well, over time too, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have to water concrete. You got to water grass.
You do.
You're saving money on water as well to keep them maintain.
100%. You don't mow it.
That would be a waste of time.
You don't have to mow it, so you save on equipment. You save on manpower. You save the. I mean,
what is maintenance then? Do you have to power spray it every once in a while?
You have to fluff the beads.
Oh, excuse me.
So there's like a little,
I want to be a fluffer.
there's a little machine that you ride behind it, because
like a Zamboni.
The beads almost like it, but it has like little fingers, and it picks up the little beads. It slides between the grass
what
fingers.
A fun job.
And it keeps it from getting really hard.
That's cool.
When
it's like a hairbrush.
In the 80s, the artificial baseball fields that I played on were basically just indoor-outdoor carpet on concrete, and they were awful.
Yeah.
I mean, these are very high-tech, safe for kids. Really, the only setback is because it does get so hot here. The temperature on those fields is about 4 or 5 degrees hotter.
Okay. So is that a thing? Like, how do you mitigate that? Anything?
Well, you got to hydrate, and you got to minimize. You don't stay on there for hours on end.
Yeah. So, I mean, would you provide shading or no? Is that getting a little bit too much?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, because you can't really. I mean, that would be very, very, very expensive to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is awesome then. That's really super cool. So yeah, that's check that out, Solomon Calhoun Community Center, if you want some more information on that. But yeah, this is going to be a great upgrade.
Well,
that's going to last forever.
That'll definitely help the football team over there in the fall in the West Augustine area. And
does it translate to all sports? Like,
it is.
Okay.
It's I mean, and we don't really put in football fields. We put in multi-purpose fields. So the fields that you put in, usually you have them lined with football, soccer, and lacrosse, and you can minimize.
Not baseball. I was waiting for you to say that.
No, well, I mean, there's baseball, but baseball doesn't have the wear and tear that these other sports do. Because in baseball, you have one area where the outfielder stands, one area where there's not like a constant like train of little feet running back and forth. So
chasing a soccer ball
around.
Yeah.
Baseball, like if you have an artificial field in baseball, like one of the new trends is to just do the infield and then the outfield stays grass.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of a trend. And the Field of Dreams fields are artificial, but those are similar to the old school artificial where a wheelchair can roll on it fairly easily.
So as an athlete, and you had to play on a grass field versus an artificial, which one did you prefer?
I can tell you this, hitting wise, I preferred hitting on an artificial field, playing defense on because you got really nasty rug burns on the old turf. I never played on the new turf. I was already aged before the turf. I'd aged out of playing.
I think I was too.
Yeah.
I remember the hard ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't even want to play on it.
Right.
And so it was tough on defense, but on offense, it helped your batting average quite a bit because you could hit a ball that would get through the infield on a regular. It was a lot faster.
Right.
Turf was a lot faster.
What is Flagler? Is that turf still? What is that?
I think their infield is and their outfield.
So they went the hybrid.
I think they're with that hybrid.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think of that? Do you like that idea?
I like it. First time I played on a field like that was at they used to have an amusement park called Boardwalk and Baseball. So when I was at Flagler, we opened for the minor league team that was playing there. Like when they opened the stadium. So I mean it's an interesting concept. I mean you still got to hit the base. In baseball,
right, yeah.
In baseball, it's more the one-on-one batter to hitter.
Right.
Fields are important, but some of these other ones just take so much wear and tear. I mean, a football field or a rugby, because they can use rugby also, destroy the field in certain areas, like around the goal line in football is always messed up. Soccer and lacrosse is a little more spread out, but football is kind of down the center of the field, and it's always, especially in youth sports.
Yeah.
They don't spread the field like you see in the pros.
Right.
It's more of a
more condensed.
It's more of 22 little kids just scrumming together in the middle of the field.
Yeah. Just curious about of all the different fields that you've played on. Do you have like a specific favorite one?
I love the field where Stetson plays. I mean, it was kind of nostalgic to me. It was an old stadium. It was built like in like the 1920s.
Oh wow!
And
like Coliseum.
It had like the wooden grandstands. I always loved that stadium.
It's still in existence to this day.
They've now renovated it and turned it in the other direction. It's more modern now.
Pissed.
There was a stadium in Sanford the same way that was an old Florida State League baseball stadium with the wall. I like the nostalgia, and it kind of gives you that Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
That
Chicago,
field, or the Fenway, kind of that old school stadium. And I loved playing in those type of stadiums.
Yeah,
more than I did the more modern ones.
Interesting. Cool. Well, there you go. This is gonna be exciting times.
So,
how do you want to check the